This has to be a better episode, right? I mean, please tell me this is a better episode. Can you just give me a sign that I'm not wasting my time? Hit the button. Let's get started. Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, the horror host of Generations X, Y, and Z inside Davis Manor with The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 13, which is called Don't Send Us an Ashtray. What the? Can somebody please proofread the script before we start recording? So yeah, the episode is called Don't Send Us Astray. But before we begin, I would like to thank the patrons of the channel. With their support and input, I am continuing to put out these great videos for you, and if you want to join the show, or even interested in some of the behind the scenes of what goes on with the channel, then click the link above or the links in the description box and at the end of the video. Become part of this channel and start an awesome journey together. Now, I'm going to be honest with you right now. I liked this episode, but there were still some wrong things going on, and I will poke some fun. I mean, it is what I do. But I need to talk about something that annoyed me the most about this episode, and actually, it's annoyed me for a while, and then I will go ahead and recap. But let's go ahead and put up this picture here. Let me point out these two shots. The ones on the left are promo shots from AMC's website, and the ones on the right are screenshots of the final production that aired. These are drastic differences. I have been talking about how annoying the night scenes are for a while, and I have been dealing with Walking Dead apologists saying that the crew is going for realism. Realism? We are talking about a show where the dead reanimate and try to kill you. There is no realism. I just don't know what is needed to be said to those people.
You know what it is.
What? No.
You know what it is. 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 You know!
Fine.
Oh, bite the weenie, Riz.
Happy now? You see, there's a thing that is called suspension of disbelief. And it is when a person is consuming entertainment and they don't critically challenge any of the logic that is going on. You normally would see this in comedy, action, fantasy, and horror genres. Also, you would see this in TV, movies, and literature as well. And Indiana Jones is probably the best example. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is where people are just willing to suspend their disbelief. And Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is when the audience cannot suspend their disbelief at all. Complaining about the lighting of the shots is not a problem with the suspension of disbelief. It is a problem with the format of storytelling. You can tell the funniest joke there is out there, but if you mumble your way through it, it won't deliver. And with dark shots like that, some of the story doesn't deliver. I wasn't sure that what happened to Tobin actually happened to Tobin. I thought it was someone else at first. So I did some research here, and I think the issue falls under three categories, or at least one of the three categories, I should say. The first one would be the director or the director of photography's vision of the episode. The other one would be the producer's choice. The producer wants it to be that way. Or the final one, and that is the final colorist's skill. So let's break that down. The director, well, there's different directors throughout all the episodes there, so you can't blame a single director because it's the same all the way through. So does that mean that it's the producers then? Is it their choice? Well, I'm going to say no, because we've had the same producers since the beginning, basically. So that isn't it. And that makes me think here. Just look at the shots of when Shane was killed in Season 2 or when Claimer Joe died in Season 4. These shots were where there was nothing in the background. at all. It was practically completely black. Yet somehow all the actors were still lit. All of them had a moonlit blue hue around them, like it was digitally lit via face tracking. And the final colors for those episodes were Dan Judy and Jeremy Sawyer respectively. So I was thinking to myself, when did the darkness really start to pull me out of the episodes? And when did I start hearing other people complain about it? Well, I haven't heard anybody say anything about that until this season. So like I said, I did my research on this one, and Chris Boyer, remember that name, Chris Boyer is the final colorist for The Walking Dead. Started this season in season 8. Does the whole season to include the episodes that have not been aired yet. Also, Chris Boyer is the final colorist that is for Fear the Walking Dead, starting in the season 4, so this upcoming season. Hasn't done any of the previous ones that I'm aware of. So I believe that this is an issue that the directors and the producers haven't said anything, because all of this stuff happens in post-production. Meaning, they've already seen their work, they've seen everything that's put together, they're just waiting for post-production to finish up on it. Kind of like, you know, wrap the bow around the present. So they're not going to go back and look at it again. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, either they don't want to change colorists in mid-season, or they just haven't recognized. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yes, Chris Boyer is the reason why things are dark, why there is such a muted contrast when it comes to colors, when it comes to shapes and clarity, everything that is going on, everything that people are really upset about. Just when it comes to that, obviously, has nothing to do with the writing. So someone really needs to reach out to Chris here and fix all of this. I mean, it's obviously happening in post-production, so things don't need to be reshot. Let's just get a fix on this. Now we can talk about the story and the episode. See, first, if you thought that there was going to be something that happens with the cliffhanger from the previous episode, you know, with Negan and Jadis, wrong. That's not going to happen. They're not in the episode, so don't even worry about it. We start off with Morgan losing it by looking at visions of Gavin from heaven. Well, I'm guessing that he went to heaven since he's now holy. Then Hilltop gets the warning that the Saviors are coming, and Portrait of a Serial Killer Henry wants to fight, but King Ezekiel picks up the handgun before Henry can take it. So that means that Henry's just left there with a stick in his hand. Sadiq has words with a woman that is in charge of the medical area that we've never seen before, and I couldn't care more about that scene. Then the sun goes down, and we see Simon talking with Meanie Maggie and her perma-puss via walkie right before he starts the siege on Hilltop. I just love Meanie Maggie's empty threat of killing all the captive saviors, you know, by shooting them. And that reminds me, have you seen the latest Hilltop tourism sign? Go ahead, check it out. Seriously, Meanie Maggie can't bluff to save her life. Go ahead, waste your bullets on the saviors that can't do anything versus the saviors with guns that are going to kill you. What kind of logic is that? So how does the fight play out? Was there a winner? No, not really. It was kind of a draw. Some saviors die in the process, but Hilltop gets wounded hardcore. The takeaways that are out of this is basically Simon has a philosophy that you should beg for forgiveness rather than ask for permission when it comes to Negan, and the saviors planned on attacking at night yet have problems fighting in the dark. Also, Rick believes in throwing away weapons rather than reloading them, and there is a scene where Simon is a bit frustrated with Dwight's lack of intensity in the fight, but Dwight goes ahead and shoots Tara via his crossbow, saving her from Simon's axe. Which made me automatically think of the comic book plot point where Dwight goes ahead and shoots Rick with a clean arrow so he doesn't turn. I am expecting this to happen the same way with Tara. And I do feel guilty talking about Tobin in my recap of episode 11, so let me pause for self-promotion and check out the link above to watch that video. I still think it's safe to say that the Judith curse continues. And speaking of Tobin, he goes ahead, gets stabbed, and it dawns on me why they didn't show people lubing up their weapons in this episode, but they showed it in the previous episode, and that is because they needed the surprise and the tension for Tobin to turn. And of course, before he does turn, he has a great conversation with Carol, and it shows me that even though Carol said that she had a front on when talking to Tobin originally, she really does care for him. If she didn't, she wouldn't come in and talk with him now. Remember, nobody thinks that Tobin is on his deathbed. He's just recovering. I always thought that Carol would have done well with Tobin. But Tobin turns, and what a turn! I mean, he has to hold the record here for being the deadliest walker on this show. Walker Tobin is just a monster. And this is where director Jeffrey F. January shines for the episode. When Tobin turns, this episode becomes a horror movie. Tobin, the 6'4" walker, much bigger and stronger than most walkers, reanimates and starts taking people out one by one while people are sleeping. Those people turn and others that were wounded turn, and suddenly Hilltop has walkers all among them. Yes! Walkers are an actual threat and a pivotal part of the episode tonight. And what is so great is the fact that The Walking Dead realized what people have been saying and tweeted this out. I'm just going to go ahead and say that somebody over there must be watching my videos. So during the Walker buffet inside Hilltop, portrait of a serial killer Henry slips out and plans on shooting the savior that killed his brother. He apparently didn't believe Morgan when Morgan said that it was Gavin, and I am upset with the scene and satisfied with the scene at the same time. I'm upset with the fact that I cannot stand the actor that plays Henry at all. I just don't like watching kid actors go ahead and recite adult dialogue. It just doesn't flow right at all. And also, why is there no guards at this spot at all? And how did Henry get the key? Where did that come from? I mean, I was satisfied with the fact because Henry is stupid enough to go ahead and open up the gate and let all the saviors go ahead and escape. And Henry is now missing after all of that. And while Ezekiel and Carol talks, Ezekiel realizes that Carol thinks that Henry is already dead. And I hope she's right. It would be pretty cool if Morgan is the one that has to take down Walker Henry, just like Carol took out Walker Tobin. So please, 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 please let that happen. And the episode ends with Meanie Maggie wondering about the cost of lives during the war while Rick goes ahead and storms off with his one-track plan. But I got a question for you here, and that is, can you rank the top 3 most annoying and useless characters that are currently on The Walking Dead? Who gets the bronze? Who gets the silver and the gold? And who should be Walker Chow? Although this episode was not the greatest, it does seem better. The problem that The Walking Dead is having right now is that the show has its ups and downs every week.
This day has been an emotional roller coaster.
Bonus points if you know what movie that clip is from. Now, the good things that are in this episode for me is the walkers. I am so glad that they are a threat once again. And also, Henry is put in his place, the little snot ball. And another plus, I'm going to say that Tara is finally catching up with the rest of the audience here when it comes to Dwight and that whole storyline. And the saviors, the prisoners, I should say, are finally gone. That was annoying. The negatives, there's no Negan scenes with Jadis. I was a little bit upset with that. But talking about the savior prisoners that are gone, negative, Alden is still around. Someone kill that guy. Enid, too, for that matter. I don't care about her. I mean, it's a real shame that Walker Tobin couldn't go around and eat a little bit more of the cast before he was taken down by Carol. And lastly, the biggest negative for the show, in my opinion, lots of heroes having an irrational vengeance disposition right now. Tara apparently has let hers go, but we still have Rick, Daryl, Henry, and it looks like maybe even Ezekiel might be that way if Henry dies. And at any rate, it is very hard to be on the side of a person that wants death and destruction to their enemies. It just isn't very heroic. So do you agree with me or disagree with me? Go ahead, leave a comment down below, and remember, like, share, subscribe, plus hit that bell icon so you get notified the moment I upload. And I will see you in the next video.